showers and thunderstorms today with strong southwesterly winds to 37 miles per hour.
It's a numbers game, especially for the situation that we're in. We're coming off of a high water event here 48 hours ago.
The outdoors is not a hobby. It's not our passion. It is our way of life. We make the perfect cast, slow our breathing to execute a perfect shot, spend hours researching locations and techniques. Regardless of effort, we fail. This series is not about incredible bites or trophy animals. Our goal here at Day One Outdoors is to educate our viewers utilizing new technology to offer a different perspective. Watch as we research new areas, plan out the day, and adjust to changing conditions. If not for other experienced outdoorsmen teaching me along the way, I wouldn't have this life. I owe it to them to pass this knowledge along. I owe it to you. Join us here on Day One Outdoors, and let's learn how to become more successful in the field and on the water from day one.
Last night we arrived in Electric City, Washington, and these next 2 days are going to be a lot of fun. Winter steelhead season is wrapping up. Springer season hasn't quite begun yet. So what do? Grab a couple of your buddies, you just go fishing. Let's go. Let's go fishing. Woo! Right now, we're squared up here on a little creek bed, and we're gonna be targeting walleye, at least for now. A little bit later, we're gonna start to see if we can't find a couple triploid trout. I'm joined by Austin Mosier and good old Jared Higginbotham, see if we can't find some fish. And sometimes, you just need to put the big rods away and have a little fun back out here, go back to our roots and remember how fun it is just to go out and catch fish. Hopefully today we just whack and stack, catch a bunch of walleye, which are great eating, and these triploids, apparently they cut red just like springers too, so I'm looking forward to it. This is gonna be really exciting. This is gonna be really challenging, but really fun too. The first thing that I thought of out here as we pulled up, it was a full moon. Fish, especially walleye, which are low light feeders, are probably active. Looking at the banks, looks like water's dropped about 6 inches to a foot. The water's really cold, which means that these fish are gonna be lethargic. It's 37 degrees. It's gonna be a challenge first thing this morning, but sun will come up here in just a little bit, start warming up, and that should at least get the trout going. These walleye though, they might have fed all night long. Hopefully we can find a couple though, because Austin keeps telling me that there's 20-pound trout and 10-pound walleye out here. We're gonna see if he's telling the truth or not. Time to rig up. After going through those 2 tubs of baits, I'm gonna go right back to what I used to always use when I was a kid. It's what I caught my very first walleye on off the bank. And when I caught all my smallmouth and northern pike minnow, just a 5-inch grub. We're putting them onto these jig heads here to get them down. And these are brand new jig heads from Yakima Bait Company that are designed specifically for walleye fishing. And they got a little flat spot on the bottom so that way they stand up. And then Austin suggested that we put on these little stinger hooks to not only add a worm, but make sure these walleye, because it's such cold water.
Got him.
Snag, teasing me.
It's that close though.
No, it wasn't.
Did you drag, please?
So a little stinger hook on there too to add a night crawler and make sure we get those light biters, especially in this cold water.
They're moving pretty slow, like Cody was saying, so I've been doing a real slow presentation pretty close to the bottom, and that's kind of been working. But that's what it's all about. I'm here to learn from you guys a little bit.
It's a little trout. Austin's going for the net job. First fish of the day.
Oh, look at this whopper.
Hey, first fish of the day.
Broke the ice. Nice.
Look at the size of that triploid, dude. You weren't kidding when you said 20-pound trout.
Yeah, they're big.
Huge.
Hey, first fish of the day. On the board.
And what did he get caught on? The stinger hook.
All right. I'll run a stinger. That's actually not a bad sized little trout.
Oh, it's not bad.
So Austin, what are the regulations for trout out here?
It's 2 a day. Doesn't
2 a
matter
day.
if they're wild or hatchery.
Okay. And any
And,
size restrictions?
It's 12 inches. But this is a small one. We're going to let this go. We should be able to get some 3-4 pounders.
Okay, all right. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Beauty of a 2-pole endorsement. Rigging up another crawler, letting the mag lip out. If there's trout around, that'll get them.
Should work.
Good enough. So Austin, tell me a little bit about the walleye. You know, kind of their habits this time of year, what water temp they tend to spawn at, and kind of what we're trying to do here today on these.
So
these
we're
fish.
out here trying to find these walleye, and it's cold water presentation. So we're finesse fishing for the walleye with light tackle, light rods. It's a lot of fun. The fish are getting ready to stage for spawning. When they start doing that, they start gathering in their spawning areas, and we're catching fish that are traveling to their spawning area. And then later in the day, we're going to concentrate a little bit more on the walleye, and we'll get into these feeding flats where the fish are kind of staging on the edge of, and they spawn in those areas as well.
Gotcha.
And it's kind of weird. You'll be catching all males in one spot, and then we'll go just over a little ways farther, and we'll catch all females over there. So
Interesting.
kind of weird how they stage up. And
Oh, they're definitely here, man, because that last cast, I just got my worm chopped in half again, and I felt the chew. It felt like a walleye bite for sure. They should be down there. My last cast, I came up and the tail end of my night crawler was chewed off, which is definitely indicative of a walleye bite. Or I could just be making stuff up. I am a fishing guide. Fish
there he
up!
is. I got you, Jared. I got you. There he is.
Mag lip!
Tight and tight. That's a pretty little trout. So we got a beautiful fish on here. It's a beautiful morning on a mag lip. We're just kind of back trolling as we walk down this and throw some jigs. And first fish got crushed, lost it, and we landed this gorgeous fish. And as we're just getting ready to talk about it, this rod goes off, and Austin's got a fish behind me, so that would be called a double. Dude, that's so awesome.
Wow.
Look at
what
that.
a great fish.
That is a dandy. I mean,
Nice fish. Wow.
dude, that is crazy.
It's a great eating fish. They're hatchery.
Yeah, Austin, what do they feed them? They feed them like krill, so they cut red, right?
They do. Yeah, they're real fatty fish. They got a lot of omega-3s in them. They're great. Great eating fish.
These two plugs right here, these two Meglit 3.0s have been my absolute killers during winter steelhead season. I figured, well, we know we're trying to catch steelhead-sized trouts, might as well bring them out. And it's been about 5 minutes, and we've had 3 grabs on them. These plugs just flat out hunt. And it's good to know that the triploids like these things too.
So we realized real quick that we get bit by on those mag lips, so we're going to add a side planer to extend our presentation out that way. And then we're going to be able to fish, 3 or 4 mag lip at once, covering more waters.
Austin, we talked about it last night. We had all our rods rigged up a certain way.
Yeah.
We're out here 10 minutes, we're already stripping everything down and starting over fresh.
Yeah, yesterday was a waste of time.
We're gonna focus in on walleye. We're gonna catch a bunch of walleye in the morning. Maglet gets bit. Everything's going maglet. Start over. Left rod, left rod, left rod, left rod.
There he is.
Fish on.
Fish on.
This is awesome. This plug downs. This plug bite's just, the rod's folding.
So that's pretty much
That's
it.
the money right there.
That's the money. These, pink and black lip, the Dr. Death, the Streetwalker have been just firing off. 130 feet back on the line counters. Again, we use the Precision Trolling Data app to get that accurate depth. It shows us that it's 18 feet deep. We hit this 21 to 25 feet of water, lets us know those trout are just suspended off the bottom, because we know exactly how deep our plug's fishing. It's kind of important we put that pattern together early, and the closer we dial it in, the more the rods are firing.
We had some fun here catching trout, but I think it's time to go chase some walleye. Austin's definitely getting itchy to go catch some big walleye, and you know, today and tomorrow is just all about having fun with friends and coming out, learning a new fishery, seeing what we can find. And so far it's been pretty good. Seen a lot of good plug takedowns, but I wouldn't mind some nice fresh white meat to take home. I love eating walleye, so we'll see what we can get here. Let's bring them in.
Fishfield is your one-stop shop online for the gear you need here in the Pacific Northwest and beyond. From salmon and steelhead, saltwater, trout and kokanee, even crabbing. Visit fishfield.com today to place an order and have the gear you need shipped fast. Fishfield.com, we have what the Northwest outdoorsman needs.
Every once in a while, a new lure comes along that catches every angler's attention. It could be because of all the irresistible colors and finishes, or the patented skip beat action. Or maybe it's the wide variety of sizes designed for salmon, trout, walleye, steelhead, mackinaw, and more. But just for the record, we know one thing for certain. We didn't design the maglip to catch fishermen. Yakima Bait Company.
You know what's surprising? How many boats are out here? It's a Wednesday. Look at all the boats out here on this bar.
I know.
And we are literally in the middle of nowhere, and there's this many boats out here. What technique do you want us to be running here?
We're gonna cast jigs that way, and we're gonna
Okay.
put plugs out the back.
Okay, and how deep water are we casting to?
About 12 feet.
So I should grab the bobber rod then.
You can try
I'm
it.
gonna try it. You guys know me, I like to change things up. I like to try different techniques. Bobber dogging is extremely productive for steelhead, and the reason why is because it keeps your gear in the strike zone for longer. Now jigging, you're casting out and bringing it back, working it across the shelf. What bobber dogging is gonna do here, since we're in that shallower water, it's gonna keep it up on that ledge, right in that strike zone on that break for a longer period of time, and I think it's gonna work. But I'll probably be proven wrong, but I'm gonna try it anyways. I think it's fun. In this colder water, these walleye are gonna bite real subtle, real light. It'll almost feel like a little trout bite when they first pick it up. And it's just a little slow grab. And then you just reel down until it comes tight and you feel weight. And you can tell it's the difference between a rock and a fish because they'll start swimming just a little bit. That's when you give them a decent hook set. But there are a lot of times, in fact, when we've come out here and fished Banks Lake, just south a little ways, we actually have footage of a walleye coming up, eating a worm and swimming with it for about a minute before it just ended up spitting it. We didn't even know we had a bite because it just picked up the worm, swam with it for a long time, and then dropped it. So it's a real subtle bite. You need to be on your toes out here looking, feeling for that bite. And that's one of the reasons why we're running braided line, is so you can have that sensitivity. Braided line has no stretch whatsoever, so you can feel exactly what's going on down at depth at all times, which helps in this 20, 30 feet of water.
That was definitely a walleye bite. That thing robbed my tail. Look at that.
You should try having a stinger hook on there.
Yeah. Yeah, baby.
So Austin said blue was a color, so I put on like a kind of a transparent one.
Like a white?
It wasn't blue at all.
It wasn't blue at
I
all.
cast it right where Austin did, and then bam, 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 kind of like a trout bite. Feels like a heavier fish.
Oh, I see it. That's a good one. That's a 25-inch fish.
Good job. Awesome. Yes, we're on the board.
On the board.
Yes.
Nice work, Jerry.
Conquered our goal. Trout and walleye today. And you know what? We caught a dandy trout, and this is definitely a dandy walleye.
Nice fish.
Oh, that trailer hook?
That treble got right in the
that
top.
trailer treble off this jig, and you know, that's what caught this fish right in the mouth. They're kind of a short biting, I think, so.
Perfect little eater. We got fish tacos now.
Yeah, that looks like a taco.
Nice. You gotta love putting a walleye in the box. That makes me so happy I caught one before Austin did. See, there's a new jig head we working on here. I just tied a trailer off it real simple. Put a grub on there, tipped it with a crawler, and pretty simple deal.
Jigging for walleye in the early spring is actually a fairly simple technique. We'll go through the rod, reel, line, and gear here right now as we're trying to catch another one battling the wind. So what you're looking for first in your rod is about a 7.5 foot long rod, fairly stiff and sensitive. You want to be able to feel your jig tapping the rocks, feel what type of bottom is down there, if it's sand or rock or timber. And then for line, definitely braided line. This here is maximum braid 8, 40 pound, and it really helps you feel what's going on down there because there's no stretch to it. Then on the end of our braid 8 is a section of line that we call a bumper. And this is just 15 pound maximum ultra green. And we tied it on just in line with what's called a blood knot. And then right here is a 1 ounce jig head. This is a prototype from Yakima Bait Company. They've been working on this for over a year now, and they're getting real close to coming to market, and so far they've been running really nice. What's great about this design is that it has a flat spot on the bottom, so it helps keep that hook from rolling over, the jig head from rolling over and getting snagged up. So then on the back end here, this is just a 5-inch grub tail. And then Austin suggested we put on a little stinger hook, so I did the same thing there, just 15 pound ultra green. Little section of line back to a size 2 hook. So we're putting on a whole night crawler, just put the head of the night crawler right here, and I've been doubling it up because these fish have been biting light and kind of biting their worms off, just like I came up with. And then leave a little bit of tail. That way you have some action, some movement down there. This is slow water, slow current, cold water. We need as much movement down there as possible to get these fish's attention. There we go, just like that. So now we got a little bit of worm tail hanging, creating some action, the grub tail creating some action, and that should hopefully be enough to get one of these walleye to bite. Then how we're using these jig heads, we're casting them out, and the structure that we're fishing, it's a ledge. It goes from about 20 feet of water down into 30, 35 feet of water, and we're walking it either up that ledge or down that ledge. Those fish will be staged up just on either side of this break. So once it gets all the way down and hits the bottom, you reel up your slack, and you're doing a real slow lift, and then drop. But you're not dropping it like what we do, say, twitching, where you're just dropping your rod tip real fast. You're lifting up, and then dropping it and feeling contact the whole way down. Just dropping your rod tip to feel the jig head fall all the way down. The reason why is because these fish tend to pick up the bait on the drop. So we lift up, just keep nice light contact with the jig head going all the way down. Lift up again and on down. Now that's one way to do it. The other way to do it is just to straight up drag it, almost like a Carolina rig for bass. Just keep it on the bottom and just do a slow drag right across all those rocks. And when these fish are really lethargic, that technique can work just as well, if not better. So either hopping it along the bottom nice and slow, or a real slow drag across the rocks.
So the wind, when we have zero current, the wind will make it so that we do not drift down river, and it keeps the boat turning and stuff, so. Makes for challenges. I wish we had more current to keep the boat straight, to get us to work through the water quicker, cover more ground, but when you don't have enough current, that's when it makes it tough.
Oh yeah. The bottom. Oh, that's a good fish. That's a big fish.
Yeah.
That's a big fish.
Good job.
I don't know what it is, man, but it's big.
It's big walleye.
Yeah, it's fighting like a big walleye.
It's a big walleye.
But that's big walleye. Big walleye.
Dude, that's,
Holy cow, that's a big fish, Jared.
that's a pink walleye, bro. Look at that, dude. Wow.
Look at the size of that thing, dude.
Oh man, that is so cool. Holy crap. I just felt something like grab it. And I set the hook and I was just like, I thought it was bottom. And then it was like, that's so awesome, dude. That's so fun. Yes, bro, yes.
We always try and let these bigger walleye go, and that's usually because they're females, and the females are the ones reproducing, creating more walleye for anglers to catch in the future. And honestly, the smaller fish, they just eat better. I got no worm. It's hard to feel a bite when it's this windy. Came out with no worm.
Salmon swim up to 3,000 miles to return to their exact place of birth to reproduce. Well, most of the time.
I don't know about this, dude. It's nuking. Like you said, someone turned on the afterburner.
We switched our tactics a little bit. We're gonna go back to trolling for trout because we can control our presentations better, and hopefully we make it happen here. We're having a good time. It's a beautiful day, it's just a little windy, that's the only thing.
Metallic pink has definitely been the color that's been working, and this one, I like this one a lot just because it has a little bit of color on the back end there to get the fish's attention. So we'll see if this goes.
Head shaker.
Dude, listen, I'm glad you were paying more attention to this.
Ooh-wee.
Fish. It's not a bad looking fish.
No, that's pretty fish. They're fat, dude. They're all fat.
It's there. It's there.
Oh,
we got
a
him.
wild one. He's a real wild
He's a real wild one. It's cool because that's a 2.5 mag lip. So that's
Yeah, got it on a different size. Nice work.
From Roosevelt up above.
That looks like a wild steelhead.
Yeah, without question.
Red band rainbow from Roosevelt. Could have come down over the dam. Oh,
He ate this mag lip.
side planer.
Great fish.
Here you go.
There you go.
Nice work. Well, he's underneath the boat. I can't turn him. Nice net job. Maglets were working extremely well this morning. We're still catching one or two here and there, but not nearly the amount of action that we had going on at first light. So I started getting a little bit bored. You guys know me, I get ADHD, I have to be doing something. So I went up on the bow and started casting one of these Fishfield Dynasty jigs that we've done well on out ice fishing and catching Mackinaws on them and everything else. Figured out, heck, might as well just huck and wind and see what happens, and guess what happened? That guy decided to come out and play. And you could really tell, like you mentioned earlier, Austin, their fins are just chewed up from being in the pens and hanging out with other trout. Steelhead do that a lot, and and hatcheries, they chew on each other's fins, so I wouldn't be surprised that's what's happening to these triploids.
So these fish, if you look at them, the color is a lot different than that one that the wild fish that Jared got earlier.
Way
Totally
different. Way different. That wild fish Jared caught was just gorgeous. Today was actually really fun. We got into a bunch of trout first thing this morning, even though we were targeting walleye. We got onto a great trout bite. Then we headed downstream and got into a couple of nice walleye, one stud walleye.
Oh, dude, that was a chunker. I was so happy.
And then ended the day on a couple more trout. So you couldn't ask for anything more, especially with this just horrific wind that's made boat management impossible.
Yeah.
But what I always like to try and do is recap the day and kind of figure out what we did right, what we did wrong, what we would do differently next time. And for me, I think if we would have started out trolling for those trout as opposed to dinking around trying to catch walleye along this bank, I mean, we didn't know. But man, if we spent a little bit more time, as soon as we put those plugs out, we were getting bit.
Yeah, as soon as we figured out the length too, like, 130 feet out, we looked it up on our app, we knew it was 18 feet deep. We knew that 21 to 25 feet of water, we were getting bit, so they were suspended, 6 to 8 feet off the bottom. So we kind of put that pattern together, and then we were really getting bit. And then of course, we did what every fisherman does, and we left fish to find fish.
You know what though? We found one. We found that Austin put us on this.
Yeah, it was perfect.
On that bar that kicked out a giant walleye, so we can't complain.
Awesome. No, it was great.
That was fun. I had a lot of fun doing that with you guys.
Well, we got one more day of this, and I think tomorrow probably a good game plan would be, since we want to catch a few more walleye, let's head straight down to where you like to target those walleye. Focus in on them before the wind comes up like it did today. Hopefully, it's not forecasted to be as heavy a wind, but the more time we can spend down there in good water that we can control the boat, the better. And if it gets windy again, we can come back to doing trout.